Hello scientists, my name is Joseph Bachman from Ethos Innovation Center. Today, we are here at Forest River Marine, where they make all different types of pontoon boats. Let's go investigate. Hello kids, today we are here with Ryan Casey, the general manager here at Forest River Marine. Ryan, thank you so much for taking time to do this today.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at Forest River Marine?
Being the general manager kind of makes me a catch-all. I do everything from help schedule production, to meet with vendors about different parts that we put on the boats, to going and working shows, and then ultimately occasionally I splash in some fun and I get to go test a boat and get out on the water.
That's the fun part.
Indeed.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a doctor, and I actually started going to school for college to be a doctor and realized that I was more business-minded and I wanted to go do something in the real world versus be stuck in an office nonstop.
Why did you choose this career?
I chose this career as I was talking to a friend that's the president of Forest River, and they needed some help in the Marine Division, and there wasn't a good successor to come in. And he asked me if I was interested in boats, and to be honest with you, I didn't really know too much about boats, but I was interested in them. So when the opportunity presented itself, I chose it, and I'm happy I did because I'm having a blast.
What type of training does this job require?
It really depends on what job that you're speaking of within Forest River Marine. We have everything from a weld training program that we've instituted here to make sure that the welds that we put on the pontoons, make sure that they're durable and they don't leak. And then some of the other jobs that we have are just an assembly type of job, and the training is basically a week of working here, shadowing someone else, and then feeling comfortable enough that, for instance, installing furniture.
Are there different kinds of boats?
There are. In the pontoon segment, there's different lengths of boats, and there's different boats that are made for specific occasions. Like we have more of a boat made for kind of like a picnic type of boat where you're out eating and having drinks in the water. And then there are boats made that are for speed. That'll have twin 500 horsepower motors that they race in bigger water areas.
What types of body of water would a pontoon be in?
Well, the really cool thing for us, and especially being in this industry, is a pontoon can pretty much go in any water, pretty much other than the ocean. Pontoons are very prevalent and they've grown nationwide and in the marine industry because they're so versatile. So you can take it out on a no-wake lake and float around and go fishing, have lunch out there, or you could go to a larger body of water and even the Great Lakes. So it's a very versatile boat, and I think that's honestly why people are so attracted to it.
What are the different types of parts on the boats?
It basically, if here's the genesis of a pontoon boat. You would start at the pontoon, we call it the chassis. So the actual logs, the cylindrical pontoons that are underneath it. Then we put on cross members, a floor, we put on a floor covering, then we'll put on furniture. Then we have a helm, which essentially is, you know, the cabin of a car where the steering wheel is, and rails that go around the boat, whatever accessories we throw on the boat, and then ultimately the motor. And the motors range from 40 horsepower to now 600 horsepower.
How does a pontoon float?
Basically, all of our pontoons are pressurized with air. We hold 4.5 pounds of pressure in each pontoon, and basically once that pontoon is made and it is totally sealed from the outside, the air inside of it sitting on top will make it buoyant and float. And then we rate each pontoon, we test them and rate how many people and how much weight is each pontoon able to hold, depending on is it a bitoon or a tritoon.
What's the most weight that it can hold?
Usually we can get up to 14 passengers, so you're talking probably about 1,600 pounds that it's rated to hold beyond what the boat itself weighs.
How much does an average boat weigh?
It really depends on the boat. On average, we feel like there's 1,440 pounds of aluminum in every boat, and then you have the floor and the helm on top of it, and we rate the carrying capacity for passengers based on the dry weight of the boat. So ultimately, the boat's going to weigh somewhere between 2,600 pounds and 4,500 pounds.
Ryan, how would you test a pontoon?
Well, we test a pontoon in different ways. Obviously, the first and foremost and most important is making sure that we have no leaks. So we test everything inside the factory. Again, we put 4.5 pounds of PSI air pressure inside, spray it down with soapy water to see if there's any leaks that we can't visually see. Once it goes all through QC, when we build the chassis, we do it again in final finish to make sure that we have no leaks.
How much does a boat approximately cost?
The price range of a boat is relative to the length of it, what style it is, how much furniture it is, capacity of people that you're going to have on it, and then motors are a huge indicator of ultimate cost. Right now, a 500 horse supercharged Mercury motor is about $50,000 just for the motor. So we have boats that start out that would be say a 40 horsepower, 20-foot boat that's going to range somewhere $35,000 to $40,000, all the way up to a twin racing boat with twin 500 Mercury horsepower outboard motors, probably $350,000 for the boat.
So that'd be a 1,000 horsepower boat?
Yeah.
Wow. What makes Forest River different than all the other boat companies around you?
I honestly feel like Forest River Marine is different from most others is because it's still a very family-based culture. Forest River started in 1996 and the boat division started in 1998. And our founder, Pete Legal, has always created a culture of honesty and trying to provide the best value product. And here we are 25 plus years later, still doing the same thing. I feel like on a specific boat side, we're the only manufacturer that built in a composite deck. I think it's a really big deal because ultimately wood and water don't mix. And even with it being marinized plywood being treated, at the end of the day, we see what happens on your family's deck at the back of your house. It needs to be repaired and it needs constant upkeep, new coatings put on it. With us having a composite deck, I think that's a game changer for us. Theoretically, if somebody wanted a pink boat, we would build a pink boat. We just partnered with Margaritaville and we were building boats that have blenders on them and all kinds of fun stuff that most other people wouldn't do. So I think that really does make us different, that we're very versatile and we're still basically a very culturally family-based organization.
Family culture is the best culture.
Without a doubt.
How has the technology over the recent years changed in pontoons? Can they pull more people while they're tubing?
Absolutely. Technology, when you look at a pontoon boat, you think a pontoon boat is a boat is a boat is a boat. But realistically, we've done things to be able to increase the carrying capacity and have more people on a boat, ultimately. We use a composite deck, which is half the weight of regular 3/4 inch marine grade plywood, which allows, again, one more body to get on the boat and enjoy being out in the water. Motor technology has changed a ton over these years. Basically, there's active trim now on motors, so the motor will move itself up and down based on the current and the waves and things of that nature. There's arches, you can tow tubers, up to 3 people on a tube. Obviously, everybody was water skiing and everything would depend on the horsepower of the motor, but horsepower is again, up to 600 horsepower now, is the maximum that Mercury makes. And really the sky's the limit as far as what you want to do with it, safely, of course, and within reason.
What is something that you've learned from working here at Forest River Marine?
Ultimately, I think what I've learned here is that it takes a village to create a boat, and ultimately everything we do is very relationship based. And it doesn't matter if we're talking with the aluminum vendor where there's a shortage and Toyota brings out an all aluminum truck and we need obviously aluminum for our pontoons, that everything's very relationship based and people ultimately buy from people. And we make sure that we treat everybody with dignity and respect in this industry. And it's one of the things that in previous industries, we were very segmented because I had one particular job I was focused on. And here, it's been an eye-opening experience to basically understand that, again, we're all working together toward the same goal, and it's to build an awesome boat and provide a great boating experience for somebody when they ultimately buy the pontoon.
I love that. What is the most fun part about working at Forest River Marine?
The best part about it is when you run into a customer, regardless of where it's at, if it's a show in Birmingham, Alabama versus Elkhart, Indiana, and they tell you about the boat is awesome, their family has a great time, so do their friends, they're making great memories, they love boating. That's the best thing about my job, is to hear the positive feedback that people are actually enjoying the products that we make.
If you could give our kids one piece of advice, what would it be?
That I would look at the big picture of most jobs that are being done in today's industry. It takes so many people behind the scenes to do each job, and they're all fulfilling as long as you put your heart and soul into it. And so it doesn't matter if we're making a cup of coffee for somebody or we're building a boat. If you're engaged in it and you care about your job, you're going to enjoy it and you're going to get satisfaction. So that would be my advice, is to give everything a chance and be open-minded.
It's a great answer. Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today and show us around.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.